So there's a brother on YouTube who said I'm possibly teaching heresy. And so I don't know if you have seen his videos. This is his channel. It's called Redeeming Truth. And so he recently made a video concerning what I said in the video on Gogos Koteni being born again and being baptized and the whole nine hodges. And so let's go over and listen in on what he was saying on the video. It's the Actuality Show, the daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here to be show, check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments, and I'm gonna check you out over there. So let's go and listen in on that part. And when he's talking to Nicodemus here, if you read the previous two verses, verse number 3 says, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom, right? So except a man be born again. So this restricts it to man. And the next verse confirms that. Nicodemus then said, he looks a bit surprised by that. Yes, it restricts it to man. It's important we be distinctive about what the verse is saying. It restricts it to man, meaning spirits cannot be born again. How can a man be born while he is old? It's not that Nicodemus was foolish here. It's that Nicodemus is kind of like speaking about himself. Nicodemus, according to the Jewish belief system, had gone all levels of what they would term being born. You know, when a person proselytized from being a thing to converting to Judaism, it was a form of being born again. It was a form. Bar mitzvah, right? Okay. Now you see that point that I made there. It's important. And I'm going to show you proof of that. I'm going to show you even other books that actually say just about the same. But anyways, so which is another level of being born again. So second level of
all right. I'm already confused. So
now right there, that's very important to understand. The thing that's confusing him should have helped explaining what I'm explaining. By the way, this is not popular charismatic teachings. Okay? It's not. But understanding what that Nicodemus understood what it means. Like, wait a minute, I've gone through all levels. So he's saying he's confused by that. It's going to affect how he sees what I'm about to say there.
Oh, I'm just going to jump to this part right here. Honestly, I'm already confused. You know, Brother Ricky is a one.
Okay, so just want to highlight that explanation is so important. The explanation I'm giving that he says he's not going to listen to that because it's confusing him. It's because I'm not even giving a full explanation.
Wonderful brother. And what he does is good. You know, but some things we have to check with the Bible.
Most definitely.
You know, you cannot just say things that are your opinions and things that you think are that based off of maybe a word in the Hebrew text means this and that, and you just come with a concoction of your ideas and things like that as if they are in the Bible. Then you make up something that is against the Bible to try to make it mean what you think it means or what you want it to mean. So It is highly disingenuous of this brother to say what he said, that it's not baptism because...
Okay, so I'm guessing that he believes that when it says, except a man be born of water, he believes that that means baptism. But then that would make salvation of works because... But anyways, that explanation, brother, was important. The correction he's about to give would have not been necessary had he understood what I meant there.
I guess First Peter chapter 3, verse 21 does not exist then. And I'm going to read it just now. Let's just jump to this part right here. All right, let's go.
The body. except a man be born of water. So the birth of water actually, it's speaking about the woman's water breaking before she gives birth. That's what.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So the birth of water is speaking of what? Wow. Wow. I think Brother Ricky broke the record with this one. Because my only question at this point is, which Bible verse even suggests that?
Okay. You see, if you had just watched the video, it's in the video. It's in the video. It's in the video, brother. It's in the video. This is why when you read further in that same chapter, it goes on to say, okay, the wind blows. You see, the very statement we mostly don't have interpretation for. When the verse says, the wind blows where it pleases, but you hear the sound, but you cannot tell where it goes. So it is with someone who is born of the Spirit, because he's showing you the separation between the body and the spirit. He's speaking about this contrasting that they don't understand. It's happening. Yes, the person is here, but the birth of the new birth is happening. That's what verse 8 is all about. Right? And so when he's putting memes of me laughing, of kids laughing, the reason why Nicodemus is a bit perplexed, it's because he has gone through all. When you bar mitzvah, it was seen as thingy. When you got married, when you became a rabbi, when you proselyte, okay? And by the way, speaking of being a proselyte, I'll give you an example of thingy. There is this book. It's an old Christian thingy right here. You can see it's called the Four Gospels. It's a bit of an old book right there. This was a revised version from the 18. If you go into the book, on chapter number 3, when it speaks about this thing, okay, so it says, how can a man, when he's old, go back into his thing? This is the difficulty, according to the writer. The difficulty that Nicodemus has is he understood if a Gentile must undergo this change. It would make sense because I'm a natural born Jew, but that the Jews must also experience such a change was more than what he could understand. It seemed to him unique, quite an impossibility, quite as difficult as a second natural birth. So when he's saying, according to this writer, he said, should I now enter my mother's womb? And so it's like he's dealing with it as he's speaking to Jesus. And so, but he implies it there that is this a second natural birth. Now, he then addresses in the book, the rabbinical idea of new birth was quite superficial, having principal reference to the external change of the proselyte to Judaism. You see that idea. I was explaining that. That part that you said, no, I'm going to skip over. Yeah, that's what I was explaining. You can see the idea was there. The idea of being born again is that. So that's why the writer says he could understand that a Jew went through that. So because he is making it sound as if I am the one that cooked it, I am going to show you that it's not me only that says this. Even in this particular commentary Bible here, under Zandervan, the King James, with Edward E. Henson.
Which Bible verse even suggests that being born of water is a reference or a symbol of the breaking of a woman's water, or whatever he said? So
it's not talking about baptism. Baptism, it's a confirmation. It's us announcing to everybody.
There you have it. Brother Ricky says, being born of water is when the water of a woman breaks. And that being baptized is just a confession to the public or announcement or whatever he said. But the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 21 says, baptism, which corresponds to this, now saves you. Baptism now saves you. Follow me. Not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal of God, as an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So the phrase, I just want to highlight the phrase, not as a removal of dirt from.
Okay, so he's reading this verse, Bible on the New Testament. It's a 2-volume thingy. I think I've shown it a couple of times when I did streams. It's this one. It's one of my early purchases some years ago when it became a little bit, I think they had a special at Kumbooks, and I went and I bought this. So this commentary, if you go to the particular portion on John chapter number thingy, the phrase born of water has been understood in various ways. First one, much the same as born of the Spirit. So baptism is something we have to do. We have to think about that. It is God who is doing the saving. So remember, that's the context of the Titus verse that comes up. So the Titus verse that you see, it has that. That is God, our Savior, out of His kindness. He is the one that saved us. Then it says, water here refers to purification. Number 3, the third version of it. Water refers to baptism. If you spot the 4th point, what is the 4th point? Right here. Water refers to natural birth. That's the fourth point. So it's not something I cooked up. It's hinted in the other older book, though it doesn't go there. Here, you can see, even in this commentary, it's mentioned. It refers to natural birth. It's not like my head is just perverted, so now I'm now thinking my own thing. It says, even as one is born of water, he must experience the second birth. You can see, even in this commentary, they put it as point number 4, that there is also this one here, where people look at that particular verse phrasing as physical, natural birth. Right there, they also note it. It's not me. I didn't write this book. Okay? I didn't write this book. It's not because I'm a weirdo in my head or something like that. There it is. Refers to things. So in one particular phrasing, others look at it as baptism, others look at it as natural birth. It's not like Ricky is just weird. But when you read all the other verses inside there, it comes to this conclusion. I want to address the 1 Peter chapter number 3 verse that he actually brings up. If you actually look at the verse, right, water symbolizes the baptism that now saves us, that saves you also, not the removal of the dirt on the thingy. So symbolizing the whole ritual and whatnot. It's that. So to him, it seems like this verse means that baptism saves. That's how he seems to be reading this verse. Now, when I go back here.
So this phrase already insinuates that it is baptism. It is water, right? Hence it says, not as a removal of dirt from the body. So I guess the scripture is invalid to Brother Ricky.
No, you see, the verse is not invalid. The verse was making a symbolism. It's a symbolism that the verse is doing. He's contrasting what they saw in the old. Because remember, it is by grace that we are saved, not of works, lest any man should boast. It is the gift of God. Right? The verse is clear. You use verses pertaining any chapter, any particular subject. You use clear verses to interpret the verses that are not as clear. Otherwise, you're saying that our salvation is tied to baptism. What about the thief on the cross? Right in Jesus' presence. It's what the baptism represents, because he's using it as an archetype. As a matter of fact, when you read a little bit of what the translators' notes say concerning that verse, they say that because of the complexities of translating it from the Greek, there was a lot that was being said there. They separated the verse. It is attached to everything that it was saying about Noah. So when you go back and you read that verse with everything that it's saying before, my brother, it's not just what 21 says. You have to read it with verse 20. Okay? Those who were disobedient. And so it says that the 8 were saved through the water. He's saying what the baptism therefore symbolizes, because he's using it as an archetype. In interpretation, that's how you would use it. He's not saying baptism saves. As a matter of fact, I just remembered something. Even in this commentary that I showed earlier on, right? This one right here. If you go and you read what it shows concerning this verse right here, fascinating enough. I took a picture, I almost forgot it. If you read this particular portion, I'll flash it up here. It literally shows you exactly that. It's an archetype. And so he's using baptism to say what that symbolized. Okay? He's not saying water saves. Okay? Right here you can see as the 8 souls were saved through the water, believers figuratively rise above the water through baptism. Because remember, others died in the water during the. So that's why I say you have to attach it to the previous verse, verse 20, right? So others died in the water, while others rise. That's why the commentary makes it very clear. Believers figuratively rise out of thinking. Baptism is a symbol of salvation in that it depicts Christ's death and burial and resurrection for the believer to identify to his experience. We identify with Jesus' experience. The verse he's reading is not saying water saves us. He's using an archetype from the old to say others die in the water. Read all the verses that pertain baptism in the New Testament. You will see what I'm talking about. In Hebrews, in the book of Romans, all through Romans, it is a mark to identify with Christ. The same way you see right now in this particular thing that I'm reading you right here. It is a thing. We identify with his suffering. I didn't make that up. Salvation is not attached to baptism. Baptism is a way we identify. Just like I was saying. Now, and that's why I say this is something that could have been easily understood. Okay? With just enough time, had he given me time to explain, but I understand. There's a lot to go in between all these things that we are talking about in here, to go from water baptism and thingy. It's a long thing. I don't fault him at all completely, because it's a long thing. It takes time to study these things. It takes time to even consider what you believe, what others believe, and what everybody else believes. That's why I showed you in the first, he notes 4 different meanings. Natural birth, okay? Baptism for purification, or that it is connected to, it connects both body and spirit and the whole 9 watches. He notes all the thing. And As a person who is a student to the word, what you have to do is you have to go and study all of those. Okay? I have studied all of those. And I've come to my conclusion of what the Bible is actually teaching, considering all the verses. And even the verse that he is reading right now, the verse concerning thinking. If you read translators' notes concerning that particular verse, 1 Peter, verse 21, you cannot detach it to verse 20. Because why? They say that the complexity within the translation warranted them to break the verse up so that that they could really deal with the verse in thingy. So it is attached to Noah and thingy being brought out because it is symbolic of us rising the same way for them rising out with the boat. As we rise with Christ in thingy, we are identifying with Christ. But anyways, it is what it is. Y'all tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. Am I a heretic? Am I a heretic? Or what is it that you have heard? It's Ricky, and I'll see you on a later on episode. Other episodes done today will be down in the pinned comments. So let's be very clear on the particular two things here. When the Bible says, except a man be born of water, it's speaking about physical birth. Okay? Now, maybe he's grossed out by me saying the woman's thingy breaking. It's the natural process. What must I say? It's that it represents that, and you can see there are others. It's not like Ricky cooked it in his head. You might have never heard it. It's fine, but you can see it's clearly depicted in here. I didn't write this book. I learned it somewhere else. This commentary here, which I don't use everything from here, by the way. Okay? I don't use everything. It's not everything that is written inside here that I think. I learned it somewhere else, but here is a book, a commentary book, a thingy for thingy that actually says pretty much, that acknowledges the one that I'm talking. I didn't cook it up. It's there. Okay? We have to be extensive. We must study a little bit outside of what we might hear from our denominations.